So, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Tom Arnold. I'm Digital Integration Partner Manager at PPL. It's great to be here today hosting this panel discussion. It's been really interesting to listen to Steve and Dave there in terms of what they were talking about, in terms of there being hopefully a turning point in the market, in terms of people being ready to be data-driven and digitally enabled to trade. And hopefully if we can nail that, then utilising the likes of data, AI, automation can bring so many benefits for the broking community and allow them to spend a lot more time on value-add activities. I'm delighted to be joined for this session by Lewis Gibbons, who's Transformation Director excuse me, at Howden, and Ollie Woods, Head of GB Transformation at Willis. They're going to be discussing some key challenges that will propel the broking industry in terms of the digital future and how we can learn from these two organisations in terms of what they've put forward. So welcome, Lewis and Ollie. Let's kick off with brief introductions, including your predictions for the big event in July. It's had a lot of press coverage, not the election, thank God, but the Euros, please. So, Lewis, can we start with you, please?
Cool. Thanks, Arnold. Thanks, Tom. So, Lewis Gibbons, Transformation Director at Howden, Howden Specialty. So, my role is mainly supporting the delivery transformation of our digital transformation agenda for Howden Specialty. My prediction for the Euros would be England, of course. I did have Poland in the sweepstakes, so unfortunately that's not gone down too well. So, back to England, fingers crossed.
Thanks, Lewis. Ollie?
Thanks. Yeah. Hi. So Ollie Woods, Head of Transformation for Corporate Risk and Broking, GB for WTW. I've been at WTW for just over 21 years, or coming up for 21 years. Done a number of roles in accounting and settlement, client servicing, client-facing, market-facing roles. I understand quite a lot of the pain points and some of the manual problems that are in the industry that we're trying to tackle today. And I gradually moved into change and now head up the transformation project for WTW, which is great to be involved in. In terms of my prediction, would love to say England. Can't see it happening, unfortunately. I really hope it does. But I wouldn't rule out Italy after last night.
Okay, very good. Well, welcome both. Thank you for your time today. So, a little bit of optimism for England there, and I think we're going to need a lot of optimism when it comes to the subject we're talking about today, in terms of being data-driven and digitally enabled for trading. So, starting at the top, for you guys, what are the broad corporate strategy factors that are driving your approach to embrace that data-led, digitally enabled trading? So, Ollie, do you want to kick us off?
Sure, thanks. So look, WTW have been on a transformation journey, a 3-year program. We're in year 3 of 3, so we're sort of coming towards the end of that journey. The ultimate goal for WTW was to grow, simplify and transform across a number of initiatives. So we've been working across a lot of work streams, but one of the biggest things that I've been involved in, one of the biggest projects ultimately was advancing our internal broking platform, and a core piece of that was to try and fully digitise our MRCs. So that's been a really big piece of the project. It's taken a fair bit of time to get to that point, but we've digitally backloaded about 15,000 contracts across all of our specialty divisions. I feel that we're in a pretty strong place. We're laying the foundations to move us to the next phase, to enable us to start doing some trading with digital structured data.
Good. Okay. Thanks, Ollie. So yeah, quite a lot there about sort of automation, reducing the error rate, efficiencies. Lewis, similar thing for you, or is it a bit different?
Yes, it is. I would say the journey that Howden's taken on from our digital transformation is around enabling the growth of the next phase of Howden's growth. We're quite an acquisitive broker. We've grown tremendously amount over the last few years by M&A and also from talent acquisition. The key thing for us from a Howden perspective is to lay the foundations of our digital backbone and then partner from our Howden Broken platform perspective, and we're being supported by Novadeo on that journey. And that's the key thing for Howden, to then lay that foundation for the next growth in the phase that we're going on, which is to close that gap from a top tier perspective, and also for us to enable us to grow lean and to support what we're trying to achieve from our growth perspective.
Okay, thanks both. And so those drivers you just talking about, to what extent do those drivers lead you to an international strategy and approach versus something that's, say, more London or UK specific? Ollie?
Yeah, so while my focus has been heavily GB orientated, the WTW transformation program is global, and the key focus is rolling out our broking platform to our international offices across the world. And it's a big challenge. They all have different needs and different requirements. But I think one of the key drivers for us, and one of the benefits we'll see, is linking up our network with digital structured data and being able to share that instantaneously in one platform. I think one of our challenges up until this point is that when business is coming into London from our international offices, we're doing a lot of rework, we're doing a lot of duplication, we're recording client information, we're setting up clients, we're doing client checks in separate systems and separate locations, and then redoing that in London. This is going to open up the door to share that information and operate much more efficiently.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. So obviously a lot of talk there about Willis' global network. It's obviously been in position for many years. Lewis, you were talking there earlier about how Howden's grown exponentially, and obviously you're growing out geographically. So do you have a slightly different slant on that?
Yeah, we do. We're predominantly a wholesale broker. A lot of our focus is still from a wholesale perspective. We do have retail units, and the journey that we're going on from a Howden broken platform perspective is to provide the IT architecture that enables not only the wholesale but the retail to all be supported by the same infrastructure. Our focus is wholesale, and our biggest deployment of that trading platform will be in our wholesale remit, which is in London. So although a lot of our focus and attention is in London, we are building that capability out from all the global offices that we have, as well as our reinsurance teams as well.
Great. Okay, thank you. So in terms of your progress on the journey to transform, can you both talk a little bit more about the key areas of focus within your organisation's transformation, and give a sense of the scale of benefits you hope to achieve, and what's gone well? Ollie, do you want to kick us off again?
Yeah, look, I think I'll talk about the work we've done digitising our MRCs. That is the biggest thing that we've achieved so far. I think prior to this, there'd been so much reliance on Word documents, a lot of manual work, a lot of manual rekeying, both in our onshore and our offshore operations. And we're getting to a point now where we're really improving the efficiency of that process and looking at various automation opportunities in the end-to-end part, which I think you mentioned, it was mentioned earlier on, looking at the sort of from the upstream to downstream benefits as well. So that's really kind of fantastic progression. What we really want to start seeing and sort of the second half of this year and into 2025 is the capability to start integrating our broking platform with our contract builder application into other internal and external platforms such as PPL and our transactional systems, which will then provide us some downstream benefits of automation as well.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Ollie. And Lewis, how about yourself?
I would say that we've done some really good pieces of work on our current tech stack, RPA, automation, downstream efficiencies from a processing perspective. When we look at the journey that we're going on from our PAS replacement, that's really about laying the foundation for us to then enable the integrations with the PPLs, artificials, and the other trading platforms and sort of modular technologies that we want to bring into our architecture. With a legacy technology that we've got, we're held back from doing a lot of the stuff that we'd like to do. So step one, laying down the foundation, deploy the Howden broken platform. Step two, then start moving forward with some of the integrations that we want to do. So we're a little bit further behind from where a Willis perspective is, but the ambition is there, and the speed and our delivery is really going at a pace.
Okay, sounds impressive. But come on, change is hard, right? We all know that working in the London market, it's difficult. There's a lot of factors that go against you. So what perhaps hasn't gone so well that you would have hoped to have gone better, that you can actually share with us? Lewis, do you want to share with us?
Yeah, digital transformation is really hard. I think anyone who's done it, would know that. Building a platform from scratch, we've been partnering with a vendor that we've taken a few years to build that. It's a London market trading platform. For most vendors in the market, that's not been done for a very long time, and we've had a tremendous journey with Novedad to get to that point. We've also had to battle COVID, and we've also had to battle various different conflicts in the world as well. Out of all of that, we've done a tremendous job to deliver at the point where we wanted to deliver, but it's been hard. the expectations of the business is very high, and when you get setbacks in just general external factors from your transformation and your perspective, it's really difficult to keep the business focused on why we're doing what we're doing, how it's going to unlock the potential of Howden, and then where we want to get to and why this is such an important piece of work. So it's very, very difficult, but the key focus is to bring the business on in that journey.
Okay, thank you. And Ollie, how have you found it?
Yeah, look, obviously very challenging. I think this is the biggest change I've seen in the industry since I've begun my career, as I said, 21 years ago. I think it's the magnitude of change that we're trying to accomplish. And trying to get the balance right as well in terms of involving the right levels of people, the right stakeholders. Like, everybody wants different things. When you start working with all the different specialty divisions just within the company I work for, like what aerospace want compared to what marine want compared to what P&C want, it's very difficult, it's very complicated. So that's been a challenge. Equally, once the technology's built, getting the adoption to the levels that you need and maintaining that is incredibly challenging too. And you know, we're in a battle at the moment, I think, at times. And I think the brokers, the account execs, the people in the day-to-day roles that are using this technology, they need tangible products. They need to see some of the things that are coming that they're going to gain benefits from, so they can understand how it's going to impact them in a positive manner.
Yeah.
And it's coming.
Yeah.
There's more to do.
Okay, good, thank you. And so we talked about your own organisation's progress. What about from a wider industry perspective? You know, how would you assess that progress, and what do you think from a market perspective required to actually keep that going? Ollie, do you want to kick us off on that one?
Yeah, look, I think there's still a lot of work to do in terms of industry standard data standards. So I know a lot of the work that's going on with Blueprint 2 around the MRC3 and mandatory requirements there, along with the core data record, are going to help resolve some of that. But I still think we're a little way off having a very good standardized industry agreement on that. When you look at some of the problems that we have around how there are inconsistencies around the information that is added into the information section of an MRC, very inconsistent, lots of unstructured data in there, and then the way in which we manage SOVs and share that information, it's complicated, and there's a long way to go with that.
Yeah. Okay. Would you concur with that, Lewis? Or?
Yeah, I would do. I would say we've also done a tremendous amount to get to the point where we are now. If we look at what PPL has achieved for us, supported us through COVID, has been absolutely fantastic. We do have a long way to go. I think that we also need to assess where we synchronise technology and the actual business model and the high-touch business model of a London market. You know, people come to London because of that high-touch service. People enjoy working in London because of the high-touch business model. And we need to challenge ourselves to look at the way technology is delivered, and does it solve an operational problem, or is it actually synchronising the process of a broker and the underwriter and bringing them both together so that we can be a data-led organisation and a data-led market. But we need to bring the brokers on, and we don't, and the underwriters, of course. But we shouldn't look to disfranchise a group of people that's so important to what we do by bringing a technology that's not fit for purpose. Yeah. And I think when we look at use cases of artificial and their data-led experience there, the connectivity that they're going to be doing with you guys, is testament to us actually taking that reflection and saying, actually, this is how we can digitise, and this is how we should be doing it properly. And I think there's a long way to go. When we look at the SOV example, is a great one. But how do we get brokers quoting in the platform? Do they want to quote in a platform? And if they don't, how do we then synchronise? How do we grab that data, and how do we then grab that process that we can bring them on the journey as well as digitise? Digitise by self, as someone in my team who's a tremendously intelligent person said, digitise by self, and I think it's a great quote, and we should be taking that reflection as vendors trying to bring technology to the market.
All right, thanks for that. And one of our last kind of questions. So, you know, we've talked about how change is hard and perhaps we're not progressing as quickly as we can. I just want to talk about, you know, if you can give us, the audience, some confidence that we can actually get to that promised land. So, you know, I think you might have already touched on it, Lewis, to a certain extent, but, you know, what do you think the promised land is? And just on that, you know, how do you actually sustain internal momentum from an organisation perspective? Because it's tough. It's long, it's difficult. So have you got anything else to add on there, Lewis, before passing over to Ollie?
Yeah, I'd say about I'll touch on the momentum part. The key thing is bringing the business on the journey of your digital transformation, and getting them very clear around why we're doing what we're doing and how we're going to do it. The way technology has been deployed previously and historically in the past is like buying a car. Teach me how to drive, give me the car keys, and I'll be on my way. That's not the way it is now. It's iterative. Trying to get the business to resonate with what MVP actually means, after everyone having bad experiences of MVP is really difficult. So we need to give them the technology, we need to give them a roadmap, and we need to bring them on the journey. But we also need to give them tools and capabilities to be able to manage that change, not only for themselves, but actually them, the managers in the business managing that change and facilitating it. Cool. But the key thing is that there needs to be a journey, there needs to be that North Star, and we need to bring everyone on in that vision.
Okay, thanks, Lewis. And Ollie, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to be quick because I can see the red countdown in the background. But look, I think, I mentioned it, brokers, account execs, end users want to see tangible benefits. They want to understand what they're going to get. At the moment, I think there's still a lot of thoughts that it's additional work. We're having to do more. We're having to capture more data. We're having to tag things without really seeing the kind of the benefits downstream. And it's coming. We're on the cusp of it. There's some really cool stuff about to happen in the next sort of 6 to 12 months. And I think if we can start putting user case stories up to say, a day in the life of an account exec or a broker in 12 months, 18 months time, you get your MRC renewed automatically. It'll include the endorsements throughout the year automatically. You can trade the data digitally, not relying on documents and attachments. You can see the underwriter comments and subjectivities back automatically in your platform. You can hit a button and generate an evidence of cover to send to your client. It can go through into the transactional systems and generate billing automatically, reducing queries with onshore, offshore. All those things, if we can start to show that's coming and end users will believe it, they'll start using the technology.
Fantastic. It'd be amazing if we could get there. So thanks very much to both Lewis and Ollie today. Some really interesting insights, so thank you. Interesting to hear about the two different journeys you're on, but obviously one key outcome that you're hoping to achieve is obviously being data-driven and digitally enabled, so good luck with that. And that brings us nicely on to our next session, where we're going to be exploring the challenges of creating greater digital connectivity via APIs. So I'll hand over to Rachel, who will moderate this next panel. Thank you.